Welcome to Culture Beast.
It's good to be back.
Yes, in a new environment.
Yeah, new environment. We're just everybody's got a new studio. We're gonna do a new studio every week.
Downtown home feel today.
Yeah, well, because it's my home.
Yes, but not downtown.
Yeah, and we're not downtown. We're actually out in the middle of frickin' nowhere. But let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way.
Okay.
Paul, you shaved your beard.
I did,
and so did I.
Yes.
Yeah. High five. You see, when you rolled up to the house yesterday without a beard, I didn't quite know who was that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. But I love it.
Thank you.
I really do. And the hair, short hair, no beard. How does your face feel?
It feels cold.
I bet.
It feels like when you get a new toothpaste and it's like really tingly.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
The other thing is what you don't realize when you shave is that when you sweat, it makes your face itch. I found.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Well,
this is the first time since.
Well, just wait till you sweat. You don't.
Yeah, this is the first time since 2013.
Wow.
Almost 10 years since I've not had facial.
9 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's pretty crazy.
And I didn't shave the whole thing.
Yeah, I like the stash, dude.
I kept the stash and a little bit of right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
it actually
know why.
suits you remarkably well.
I've had a lot of people say that, and I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
I think it is,
but I'll take it.
I think it's like I think there's a level of like manly maturity where you can pull off a mustache.
I have people,
you know what I mean?
People told me I look older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I look younger.
You know what with the Just for Men color match? Can't even tell. Can't even tell.
The fit is on point.
Thank you. I went. This is my after polo match attire.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Or when your parents come to your primary school.
Yeah, it's very Fraser Crane.
This is more no, it's Fraser.
Yeah,
it's very Fraser Crane. And I'm strangely comfortable with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love Fraser.
Yes,
it's a great show.
It is a great show.
One of the things I love about Fraser is you have to be intelligent to understand it.
You do.
So all those people that don't like Fraser, haha, you're dumb. Sorry,
what? I'm just kidding.
What?
I don't understand that joke.
I don't get it. No, I love Frasier.
Dude, I started watching through Frasier, and like it just like I'm like halfway through season 4, and they just make them out to be idiots all the time. Yeah. Every single episode.
And it's great because they make them out to be idiots, but they think they're the smartest people.
Right. Yeah.
So I love
it's really funny. It's intelligent humor, which is dumb humor.
It's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite lines is Niles and Frasier arguing, as they do.
Yes.
And Frasier turns around and goes, "Well, Niles, I have news for you. Copernicus called, and he said you're no longer the center of the universe." Now, if you don't know what Copernicus is, that's not funny. If you know what Copernicus is, that's funny.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorites, Frasier said, "Well, in high school, I was in the existentialism club. I was voted most likely to be." And that's just hysterical. Yeah. I mean, and then somebody came up with the wisdom to write that. Yes. It's just brilliant. Oh man, it's good stuff. I love how we just spent 10 minutes talking about Frasier. Yes. I love it. It's Culture Beast, man. Yeah, it's Culture Beast. It's just what happens. Watch it. It's a great show. It is a great show. And then if you need to feel better about yourself, watch that and Cheers. You'll feel great about yourself. Yeah. It's on Paramount Plus if anybody wants to watch it. No, I'm a huge fan of both. Grew up on reruns of Cheers and Frasier and not reruns of Frasier. It was the episode of Frasier, Seinfeld, reruns of MASH. So it was that kind of sarcastic, dry sense of humor, which made me the gentleman I am today. You understand? The shining example of the shining humor. Example of what not to do. Yeah, except his mustache. Do that. Absolutely do that. 100% do that. I apologize. One, that I will be coughing throughout the episode, but two, the part of that reason is why we're not having cigars today. End of a week and a half ago or so, I got walking pneumonia. Yeah, and it's no joke. Pneumonia light. Yeah, diet pneumonia, not ammonia. Pneumonia splendor. Yeah. Splenda. It literally it's like the sativa of. Yeah. It's definitely the indica of the pneumonia.
The decaf.
The decaf, yes. It's the Jenny Craig of pneumonia, shall we say. No, I've just alienated that group. No more sponsorship after this.
Sorry, Jenny Craig.
Yeah. No, it is. But see, we make fun of it, but it was no joke. It was, I was on antibiotics. I was on an inhaler.
Yeah.
There was moments where I couldn't really breathe. It was pretty crappy.
Yeah, that's so scary.
Yeah, it was. But I'm better.
Yeah.
Ish.
Which is great.
I'm better. The cough is just going to linger for a while. And it's a terrible cough.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason as to why it goes off or what sets it off. It just does. Mm-hmm. Like I ate a granola bar the other day and thought I was going to freaking die.
Jeez.
But then
Citrus
I ate tacos and I was fine. It just doesn't make no sense.
But you're on the mend, which is great.
I'm on the mend, and I'm doing the best thing I think I can do is double fist coffee and champagne.
Yes.
I love champagne. I have a love affair with champagne.
Yes. We had champagne earlier. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about the champagne that you discovered?
Yeah, this is called Tots. And I was looking for a cheap champagne because I love champagne, but I don't always want to pay $50-$60 a bottle. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
You made a face.
I was just checking. I was like, checking the levels.
No, and I wanted an inexpensive, I should say, because I don't like the word cheap.
Right.
An inexpensive champagne that wasn't $50 a bottle, $60 a bottle every time, which I'll pay, but I don't want to all the time. Something, especially if you want to put mimosas, if I just want to drink it, whatever, just a versatile. And I found that one, Montmartre, the French champagne, which is just stunning. $10, $12 a bottle, and it was gorgeous. It was perfect. Great brut, dry champagne is great. And then I couldn't find it anymore. So I've been on this hunt for a good, inexpensive champagne, and I came across Tots. And big fan, because it's a little sweeter than I like, but it's okay.
Yeah, I don't have a big affiliation with champagne. Mostly New Year's Eve and like ideal like fantasies of winning, the WRC event, like Croatia round, and spraying people,
Yeah. I mean, why not? What do you mean we're clipping? I'm not clipping. You're clipping.
That's echoey.
Your face
in here.
is clipping.
That's probably true. That's better.
Well, no, your face was clipped. Hey, there it is.
Clipped it myself.
Yeah, it's very snip, bitches. No, it is a little echoey in this kitchen, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine
because it's mine.
Yeah, I guess it's. I picture champagne being like reserved for events. Not just something to just like sip with.
Yeah, and that's where somewhat respectively, I think you're wrong.
Oh, definitely wrong.
Yeah, and I think it's more of like that's your prerogative, so that's what you. But I have a love affair with champagne, so like I'm very European when it comes to my champagne. I have champagne. I can have champagne with everything.
Yeah.
You're with some friends, break out a bottle of champagne. You're having breakfast, break out a bottle of champagne. You're having a nice dinner and desserts coming, break out a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
You're having a Tuesday and you don't really want to do anything, break out the champagne, hold the glass. You're in the bathtub, fuck it, champagne. There's an old quote. I forget how the first part goes, but the second part goes, and for all your pains, champagne. And that's how I've kind of just taken that and ran with it.
Beautiful.
It's probably Coco Chanel or somebody who loves champagne as well. But yeah, champagne is special to me. Mm-hmm. It's everything that happiness includes in a glass.
Yeah.
It's light. It's pretty. I mean, look at the bubbles still rising. It's effervescent. It tingles your senses. It makes you feel good. Champagne is like the best drunk I've ever been. And it's special. Mm-hmm. And they even dress up the little bottle in a tuxedo.
Looking all dapper.
Yeah,
ready to drink it. I'm on the other end of the spectrum, drinking rum.
Yes.
So last podcast we talked about the Pirate's Life. Mm-hmm. Last week we talked about the best rum that I've ever had. So I came here this weekend on a mission to find rum.
And we had to go to 2 liquor stores, but we found it.
I went to every liquor store in Billings, couldn't find it. And then
so how many liquor stores did it take you?
6.
Wow. You were determined.
I was.
Paul Aspen on a mission.
It was so good. And it's like one of those, I get really excited about new things and things that I haven't experienced. Mm-hmm. And so this is something that I like. And just the night at the cigar lounge, that was just really fun. Like I really enjoyed it. So it has a good memory attached to it as well.
Rum is, the pirates drank it and the people that.
And I really like that aspect of it too. Yes.
And it was easy. It was prevalent. You could get it. But it really does give you a nice little buzz. And it's not hard to drink.
Yeah.
The thing I love about rum too is because of how it's made and sugar cane and all the stuff that goes into it. It has a really interesting flavor profile. It's almost desserty in a way. It's very not thick isn't the right word, but it's decadent. It's very rich.
Yeah, I talked about this having the characteristics of like brown sugar, like a very sweet, citrusy sort of a taste.
And that's what a lot of the traditional rums where it was a sugar cane, like it was very sugary. Yeah, and sugar causes fermentation. Right. So that Blackstrap is really great. It's got that. It's almost heavy in a way. That dark aroma.
Yeah, it does have a heavy body.
Yeah, vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, just really desserty notes, and particularly Blackstrap. A little too sweet for me. I'm more of a Diplomatico guy for my just sipping rum. Right. A really great inexpensive rum, if you kind of want to get into rum, is Blackstrap or Captain Morgan does a private selection.
Oh, really?
It comes in more of like a rectangle squarish bottle. It's a really good starting point. Of course, there's white rums, dark rums, depending on how long they leave it in the barrel. Right. And with the dark rums is when you get really that smooth, desserty, dark flavors. Yeah. This was $21 and, it's delicious. So I'm having it with coffee this morning and a little bit of creamer, and it's delicious. We talked about this yesterday, and this is a good place to touch on Culture Beast here. But I'd be interested to see, because if you show them the bottle, how the Cruzan is literally molded into the bottle here. Yep. And we saw a lot of bottles in the liquor stores that were very fancy. It would be interesting to see, one, the design aspect and the time that goes into developing the bottle and why. But two, I'd be interested to see how much that bottle costs versus this bottle, which doesn't have that. Yep.
Because this is like more of a generic bottle you can buy
and champagne, from anywhere. A lot of champagne comes in the green tinted bottle, so it doesn't get, the sun doesn't hit too much. And obviously when they're ferment, bottle aging it, you actually turn champagne.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Quarter turn every it's a day or every 2 days, whatever it is. But yeah, you quarter turn, like you'll see in a champagne vineyard or tasting room or cellar or wherever you're at, you'll see they'll just have a bunch of people coming in quarter turning bottles, and that's just how it is. Rum, there's a lot that goes into that as well. Sure. But I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, I would be too, because from a design perspective, and a cost perspective, like it can't be cheap unless they're ordering, hundreds and thousands of bottles at a time, which makes it cheaper, Yeah. But, I was jokingly saying that like most of the cost of a bottle is probably in the cost of the bottle itself, not the contents in it, Yeah. But there could be some truth to that. Also,
I've rarely seen a more inexpensive bottle, $21, with a cork.
Yeah, and it's a wooden cork on top.
Yeah, wooden top with a cork bottom. Yeah, which is, there's something about, especially with rum, that Yep.
Yeah. And for me, like I'm drawn to design more easily than not, and especially like names. And so like how this bottle is presented, for those that are just listening, it's a black label with like goldish sort of lettering on it. The bottle has the Cruzan. Oh, Cruzan. Yeah, they're Cruzan logo like embossed like in the part of the glass.
Yeah, it's literally
it looks good. Glass, like it looks like a good thing to drink, and the cork on top is like a dark wood with their logo in gold on top, and just a cool design. Yeah. So I appreciate it from a design aspect.
Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh yeah.
It's made,
So it's gonna look good next, like on my bar with everything else. So
it will, and that you think about that kind of stuff, which I love, because I don't. Yeah, and I just think it's fascinating that people do. Yeah. So and
it's just me as a designer, and it's just something that's creative. It just worked into my head.
And it's also very design's so important to you. I notice, and this is, forgive me for saying so maybe, but you always gravitate more towards that. So.
Keeping on the rum and alcohol topic.
Yeah, what you got?
We went to Devil's Toboggan last night.
We did.
My maiden voyage.
Your maiden voyage.
And it was super cool.
It is cool. Devil's Toboggan is a speakeasy in Bozeman in the Cannery District. above 7 Sushi and Speakeasy. But I'm gonna tell you right where it is. But it's really intentionally done, and the drinks are fantastic.
Yeah.
And for me, the drinks are great. I wish there was more cross training between bartenders. That's my one complaint. Is I wish there was more consistent.
Sure.
Like I ordered an El Presidente as my second. It's one of my favorite cocktails.
But it's only one bartender that can make it.
Yeah. And he had the new guy make it, and it was a little different.
Oh.
And it's like, I would rather, anyway, that's my thing.
But it's good that the old bartender trained the new bartender on how to make it. So that's good.
And I'm the reason they have that drink in their little recipe book.
So good.
But for me, and I didn't realize this till I started going to Devil's Toboggan. And this will kind of be up your alley, as you said, aesthetically pleasing and how it looks and everything. I'm obsessed with good glassware. Yeah. And I said that even to the Hannah, the waitress. I said, the glassware is just on point. And I love that. Yep. So I'm a sucker for things like, presentation. Yeah, for sure.
It was a good spot. It was really fun. What did you think? It was super cool. I mean, you walk in and you pointed out that when the light is on the outside, that means they're open, which is something I didn't know.
And you couldn't really see the door.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was just kind of blended into the rest of the building, which is super cool. Design wise, it was definitely on point. I think of speakeasies being very eclectic, being very overstated, having kind of like a larger than life sort of a, not cartoony, but like a very whimsical sort of a feel, Yeah. And that's definitely what that place had. And there was, I pointed out a couple of design things that really drove me crazy.
Yeah, there were several.
Yeah, there's a couple. But they really nailed a lot of it. They work with a lot of like the reds, within the seating, and then they have, some gray tones, a lot of tuft things, which was cool.
I know how you are about Chesterfields.
Yeah. The Chesterfield couch, which was nice. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. And like I commented, like it's cool that somebody took the chance to do that. Like someone was like, this is what I'm going to spend my time and money to do. And hopefully it works. It's super ballsy of the owner to do that.
Very much so.
Like to meet him someday.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. Nice.
Exactly what you'd expect. Like he looks like David Bowie and Tom Petty had a love child. He's a skinny guy in like these nice suits with like this long hair and like this little soul patch. Nice. And you just like, this is exactly your place. Yeah. One of my favorite things about it that I didn't point out to you, and I'm so sorry. By the bar, there's this little back room where they put in orders and stuff. And they have these appetizers. The kitchen's in the basement, and it gets to that little room by dumbwaiter.
Nuh-uh. Wow.
I forgot to, and I knew you'd love that.
That's
I'm so sorry.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So, yeah. Just little things like that. They give you a little punch of the month when you get there. That little punch we had. Yeah. It changed every month. Really? And you get a little sample every time you walk in.
Yeah, that was delicious. It was, I don't remember what you called it.
It was mint. I remember that it was mint infused gin and something. Yeah. And some citruses.
It was refreshing. You could tell they designed it for spring because that's what it tasted like with spring.
Yes. Your first cocktail, I could drink a pitcher of it in the summer.
Yes. It was the Mockingbird. Mockingjay. Monarch?
Yeah, I want to say Monarch.
Yeah, it was probably Monarch.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was beautiful. It came with an orchid garnish. Good. That was really good.
Yeah, that was like minty, fruity, light. And then my second drink was the Old Cuban, which was this rum.
Blackstrap.
The Blackstrap with pineapple, coconut, orange, and lime. And then there's
bitters. And then Prosecco float. Champagne float.
And it was a completely different drink than what I had from the start.
Interestingly enough, though, I just realized this just now. That little punch started you on a mint journey, and each one of your drinks had mint after that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's interesting if that was because of that little drink, or if it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the idea for me ordering the second drink was that I bought the rum, and I'm interested in learning how to.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you'd like this.
Yeah, but I didn't want to just have that drink, because sometimes when I go to a coffee shop, I'll order something that's familiar instead of taking a chance on something that's not. And I make a mistake of losing out on an experience out of comfort, you know. Whereas like I have this rum at my house and I can pull up menus and try different things whenever I want. But at that time, like I can't get a Monarch anywhere else, you know, or I can't make one at my house. So I'm glad I had both. It was delicious. Cool. And it was such a cool experience.
That's half the thing is the experience.
Mm-hmm. So. Because you started talking about it on the podcast like a year ago. Yeah. And finally got to go. Mm-hmm. It was so good.
I want to do an episode there.
I do too.
I could probably make that happen.
It'd be fun to bring the owner in for a little segment of it, you know, and just kind of interview.
I will work on that.
Okay.
I'll work on that. Kind of in this alcohol, cigar, you know, luxury.
Before we move on, what did you drink there?
Oh, I had the first drink I had was an Aviation, which is one of my favorite gin drinks. It's a cocktail from the 20s, tastes like spring. And I love Aviations, and they're gorgeous because that creme de violette makes it this just like opaque purplish lavender. Yeah. Garnished with a cherry. I like a lemon and a cherry, but that's just personally. Sure. And you'll find different cocktail bars. Some will put a lemon in it. Some will put a cherry in it. Cool. And so I like both. Yeah. I like a flag, which is a lemon rind, kind of in a U shape with a cherry in the middle. Interesting. I just think that's a better look. That's cool presentation. It's fancy. It's fancy. And then I had an El Presidente after that, which is a rum-based cocktail. I've talked about it on the podcast before. And it was the president's cocktail before the Castros overthrew the president in Cuba. And so obviously a rum-based drink. Right. Just really, really good flavor. What rum does it have? Did you remember? It depends. I like an aged rum. So like Bank 7. Sure. So they probably use like a 7-year Flor de Caña, which is what a lot of bars in Montana have as their aged rum. Right. But I like Banks because it's a little bit more higher end. And cocktails are a great example of, you can use just any old rum or you can use a specific rum. Like when I get a dry martini, I get a Belvedere dry martini because I'm very specific about that because I like how Belvedere mixes with the vermouth. So good. I tried the El Presidente and it was good. I don't know if it was not my palate or if it was because I had got my old Cuban right before that and had a few sips of that, so my palate was very different. Not used to that shock between the two drinks. That was, they're both rum based, but couldn't be more different. Yeah, which is so cool about the differences of, I guess, the wide array of things you can do with alcohol. You know, and for me, it's just wildly fascinating. Absolutely. Yeah. So, in this kind of realm of like luxuries and stuff, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, my favorite fucking people. Everybody's favorite people. I hate them. They released that they are proposing on Thursday, this last Thursday, they proposed a rule to ban menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. So there's acid, deadwood, out the window. Wow. Through careful this is what I fucking love. Through careful consideration of the scientific evidence and our authorities under the Tobacco Control Act, we've determined that these actions are appropriate for protection of the public health. Commissioner Dr. Robert Califf. Good Lord. The proposed product standards would, among other things, improve the health and reduce the mortality risk of current smokers of menthol cigarettes or flavored cigars by substantially decreasing their consumption and increasing the likelihood of cessation. Which means quitting. Right. So basically, if you look into all of this, and I'm not going to read you all this stuff, it's bullshit. Yeah. I heard about the cigarette part, but I didn't know it translated into cigars as well. Interesting. No more Swisher Sweets? Probably not. That's what they're looking. I mean, Blackwoods, all the ones we started on as, minors. Yeah. They're also how they couldn't touch vaping because they're like it's water. Well, that loophole has now been closed. They can regulate, and the FDA is smart. I hate to say this, but they literally said, they switched everything up, so now they control all forms of nicotine. Jeez. Yeah.
Not government overreach at all.
No, God, no, we don't. None of that happens. Government overreach? What are you talking about?
It's America, the land of the free.
And the home of the regulations.
Jeez.
Yeah, I have a whole thing about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it because I'm going to get upset.
That's fair.
But I have a whole thing about that, and it really bothers me.
Yeah.
Because it's getting, I mean, there was a point where they were going to look at banning premium cigars.
Really?
From the country. Yeah.
What?
At one point, a couple years ago.
Jeez.
And that was like, so then they're like, oh, well, fine, we won't do that. We'll just regulate the shit out of them.
But yet in California, they have places that you can legally use drugs, and they're providing that.
I have a friend of mine that in California that went to a therapist and to work through some childhood trauma, microdosed MDMA.
Jeez.
Molly.
Jeez.
And it was like this therapeutic thing.
But yet cigars are bad.
Can't have a Sweet Jane.
Right. Oh,
not that would I go for a leather rose. You would go for a Sweet Jane.
I'd go for either. Yeah. Either is a good choice.
Yeah, and so it's just.
That's so dumb. Hopefully it doesn't work out.
I hope not.
I can't imagine there being like strong support for that.
Well, here's the thing. There might be strong support for re-election purposes for politicians.
Sure.
But the lobbyists for the big tobacco companies are just going to go nuts.
Right.
And I don't care how great your idea is in this day and age. If you don't have money behind you from lobbyists, you're not getting elected.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe you think about that.
Yeah. Think about a lot of things.
Yeah, like how to not be a schmuck.
Seems pretty hard.
You got anything alcohol, tobacco related? Maybe some coffee news, anything like that?
I don't have any coffee news. Black Dog is opening their third store here pretty soon.
Is that the one at
the old Harper Madison?
We saw Joni's Swords this morning.
Yes, we had breakfast with her.
So good.
Had a variety of croissants.
Yes, which is how it should be.
Yes, it was so good.
She's so good.
Do you have? Let's talk about music.
I was hoping you would.
Yes.
After you, sir.
I have several. I have a couple.
After you, sir. I'll go at the end.
Okay. So, I made my own Forza Horizon Pulse playlist.
I was hoping you'd bring this up.
Yes. Because I was thinking about it the other day because I was playing 5, and as we've discussed numerous times, both on air and off air.
You have a crush on Amy Simpson.
I have a crush on Amy Simpson, for sure.
You do, yeah.
Yes.
His voice. His voice in the ethers.
And secondly, that Forza Horizon 5 does not have a good Pulse playlist.
No, it doesn't. Compared to 4, it's...
Yeah. And so I thought, I am going to take some time and make my own playlist. And I poured over that thing. I absolutely poured it. I listened to it probably 15 times, just like making sure the songs were right, because my inspiration was 4, I wanted to make sure, because 4 is way more dancey house kind of like feel good sort of music than what 5 is. So I kind of like chose the songs based off of that, and tried it with playing Forza, and it was great. And we listened to it last night while we played.
It went well.
Yeah.
If I may real quick interject
Go ahead.
thing. The 5 is in Mexico. It takes place in Mexico. And I was always like, there's so many like flamenco pop style guitar, like Mexican style. And they're like Rodrigo Gabriela and things like that. And there is none of that in that show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen.
I went through the playlists, and in the timeless playlist, I actually have some Spanish influenced music.
Yeah, the classic one. There are times where I just throw that on.
I've tried it once, and I just can't do it.
Some of us
I could see where it could be alluring.
Miles.
Oh gosh.
Copernicus called. He told you to shut the hell up. Galileo said the same thing. No, just kidding.
Let's see what else. I found a playlist, or I guess a podcast on SoundCloud called Soul Etiquette. It's kind of in the
soul etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of in the idea of the Future Beat Show, but more soul sort of music.
Ooh, you're speaking my language.
It's really good. It's
soul etiquette.
Soul etiquette, and it's only on SoundCloud.
Okay. I'm gonna
really good for summer. Really good for cooking. It's a really good playlist.
Do I still have SoundCloud? That would be the
SoundCloud's cool.
I don't. I'm gonna
because SoundCloud isn't like, it's not regulated. It's not like you can.
The FDA hasn't gotten there yet.
Not yet. But they artists can upload whatever they want because there's no like copyrights. There's no nothing on it. So you can find more unique music on SoundCloud than you can any other platform.
Soul etiquette.
I'm
gonna remember that.
It's real good.
I love soul and funk, dude.
Yes,
I love it.
It's so good. It's one of the best. It's one of the best music podcasts that I've found so far. So,
and you found the Future Beat Show.
Yeah. It's good. What are you listening to?
Harry Styles, who I have a little bit of a crush on, if I'm honest. I have a man crush on Harry Styles. He fashion wise, music wise, human wise, like he just I want to hang out with that guy. I just want to be around him.
Yeah.
He has a new song called "As It Was," and it's just so good. The bridge.
Really?
Is just money.
I never got into Harry Styles, not intentionally.
On the way home, As It Was.
Okay, As It Was.
Hold on.
He's coming out with a new rap album, I heard.
I know. I'm so excited.
I don't know.
As It Was. Yep.
As It Was, okay.
Yep. And the bridge.
Oh. Is he British?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more than somewhat.
Interesting.
British, yes.
Yeah, I never really dove. He's more on like the popular side of things, which I tend to not gravitate towards at all.
Also, I was at another music news real quick. I was at my parents' house the other night, and my dad was playing his guitar.
Oh, really?
He plays it once a day, my mother says.
That's awesome.
Which is wicked.
Because I got an injury from woodworking.
Yeah, and they think it's just inflammation. He's working on it. He's getting it figured out.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to hear him kind of he loves it.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's beautiful.
That's what's important.
That's beautiful.
And I made the joke that I said, well, for what I paid for it, you better freaking love it.
Yes.
How long it took, but no, it's so cool to see.
But that just warmed your heart just to see him actually playing it, enjoying it. Yeah.
And I didn't even ask him to. He just kind of brought it out and started playing it.
That's so good. Really cool. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I broke out the iconic summer playlist the other day. Yep.
That deserves a round of applause. Because it is iconic.
It is.
It's iconic.
And
not chronic, but iconic.
Iconic, yeah. And in the summertime, one of my guilty drink pleasures is the Corona Refreshkas. They're just so good. Right. Like, oh man, they remind me of summer. It's not like a serious drink, and it's like the closest thing to a seltzer I will ever drink. It's not what I would
call a serious drink at all.
No, but it's delicious. No. It just reminds me of like working on cars and, grilling and like being out by the fire. It's just, it's so good. So I listened to the iconic summer and had one of those at the same time. It's just like, all right, we're back in it. Back in summer, baby. So good.
I'm trying to be a little better in how I talk to people.
Down your harshness.
I'm trying not to
peasant
put
level.
you down for being wrong and peasant. So what I will say is I'm glad you like them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm really happy for you that gets to happen.
Yes, me too. It inspires me to be more excited about spring and summer.
That tasted like vinegar.
As he sips his champagne. Yeah, pinky out.
Yes.
Do you have any more on that aspect?
Music? No. Oh, I do. Maroon 5 is coming to Billings.
Yeah, I heard that. That's interesting.
Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son, Brandy Carlisle are going to be in Big Sky this summer.
Okay.
Steve Vai, the guitar player.
Don't know who that is.
Oh, look him up. He's brilliant.
Steve
he's up there in his skill.
Okay.
He's going to be in Bozeman in November.
Huh.
But My biggest news is I think I'm going to get tickets for it. Is the Blues Magic City Blues Fest? St. Paul and the Broken Bones is going to be there.
No, you have to.
I have to go.
I want to go too now.
We have to. Let's do it.
Okay.
St. Paul is one of, as I've said many times, is one of my favorite bands.
Dude, they're going to be Billies. You have to.
I have to.
Yes.
Big soul and fun guy. And they are. I mean, he did Chain's Gonna Come with Lizzo live, and he knocked her out of the park.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so those are the other music news I have is just some people that are coming around. Yeah.
I want to go to that.
Yeah.
I've never been to Magic City Blues, but I want to go now.
Well, there's other people that are I'll have to look at the...
that brings a surprisingly amount of good bands to Billings.
Well, yeah, it's one of the longer running.
Yeah. They close down the streets. And
yeah.
It's a
proper... Leonard Skinner. Mm-hmm. Sweet Home Alabama.
Yes.
Whiskey Myers, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Shane Smith and the Saints, Amethyst Kaya, Robert Finley, which is good, John Cleary, 49 Winchester, Eddie Ninevolt, King Solomon Hicks, Ben Rice Band, Lori Morvan Band, and Billings' own Soul Funk Collective.
Oh, really? Yep. Good for them.
August 5th and 6th. Yeah, I'm really... And at the Budweiser stage at 8:30 is St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
How much are tickets? Are tickets like $120 or something?
Yeah, it's.
I thought they're pretty expensive.
I don't know how much tickets are, but I need to find out and I need to get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, and to see Leonard Skinner would be cool too. Mm-hmm. And Soul Funk Collective, if you've never gone and seen their local Billings band, they play at Craft Local a lot. Definitely go check them out.
Yeah, they're cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
They put on a fun show. You'll be dancing your chair on the walls, on the wherever.
You're
going to be just jamming out, having a great time. I'm a big chair dancer.
I heard legend of how good they are, and then I saw them play at Craft Local, and I was like, okay, I understand the hype.
Yeah. Well, they were so. Our friend John Roberts, friend of the podcast, love John, Pom Blanco, Pom Blanco, Jean Robert. That was French and then Spanish. I don't know why I did that.
I
am. Jacques. No. Sacre Bleu. He teaches at MSUB, and he does this class where you have to form a band and gig and and they were a product of that, and they just kept doing it. That's what I've heard.
Oh, interesting.
So I love that, and that's so cool. Good.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah,
John's such a good dude.
Magic City Blues Fest, Culture Beat's going to be there.
So good.
I'm gonna fangirl. I'm probably gonna pee. We will come out. Maybe.
Okay.
I just love St. Paul's Broken Bones.
Yeah.
It fills me with such joy.
Yeah. I would love to experience it with you. That'd be so
we
fun.
Should do it.
Yes. Absolutely. Want to move into like fashion sort of stuff?
Yeah.
What you got? Got anything?
New shoes.
You got new shoes?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Yeah, these ones. Oh God.
I think you wore those last time.
I know, but I didn't get to show the people.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna hurt myself.
There they are.
Yeah. Sexy.
They're so
I got
cool.
them Montana vintage.
They say made in Spain on the bottom, and it's not even centered, so you know it's authentic.
Yeah, no, they're authentic because maybe Spanish people got long feet. I don't know.
So good.
I love them. Yeah, look at us.
Going the Chuck.
Yeah, this would be a great photo because it literally shows that's the cultural difference.
I'm going to use this as the thumbnail right here.
Please do it because that's
episode 29.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like that's it right there.
My tattered
I would
jeans.
pull my shoes off my table, but I don't think I can do that right now.
Do you need some assistance?
I think I've hurt I've fallen and I can't get up.
You're gonna have a rice bath later too.
Oh God, this hurt. Okay.
You made it through. Nice job.
That was rough. I need some ibuprofen and an Espen salt bath later. That's my fashion news that I have.
Cool. I've been finding a lot of stuff on Instagram and wanting to share it.
Okay.
I found this gentleman. I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce his name.
May I try?
Yes. The chief photo that I want to show you is that, and you can go backwards.
Oh. So his first name is Massimilian.
Is that what it is? Is that how you pronounce it?
And if I'm reading this right, I think it's Massimilian O'Donnaroma. Oh, here it is. Oh, Massimiliano, something like that. Donnarumma. Donnarumma. That's a great name.
I'm glad you tried because I
Massimiliano.
didn't have the guts.
Massimiliano is his first name.
Massimiliano.
That's wonderful.
Massimiliano.
Worldwide traveling tailor. I love him.
Go back or scroll through his timeline.
I am. God, he's got rose gold or kind of peach or that color.
It's like a
lenses.
Yeah.
I love that. Ooh, he's a car aficionado.
He's a car. Yep.
Car guy. I like that. Oh yeah.
I thought you'd appreciate
that. Wonderfully done. He reminds me, and I'm sure they know each other. He reminds me of Gianni Fontana.
I appreciate how simple his style is, but how accurate it is.
It's very elegant, yeah. Oh, I'm surprised this isn't your favorite photo.
I didn't even see that photo. That's strong.
The motorcycle. Yeah, this is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, really inspiring too.
Yeah, it's a 4.5 liter.
Ooh, I didn't see that. Yeah, it's a good Instagram follow.
See, I want to see you dressed like this. I really do.
Like what? Oh, like that guy.
I would love for us one day to.
Yeah, we were gonna switch. We were gonna switch styles or something. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I do want to get into like this guy's style is more of what
P2Amo. That's street style.
Yeah, this is more of what I enjoy. The problem is when I find a blazer, it doesn't suit me well. You know what I mean? Like the shoulders are really puffy.
Well, you gotta get it tailored.
Well, I don't want to spend the money on tailored.
Well, that's a personal problem.
It probably
you want
is.
things and you're not willing to work for them. That's a personal problem.
I don't know if I just don't want to spend my money towards them.
Well, that's working for it. You just have to work to make the money.
I have the money. Okay, I just choose to not spend the money on that.
And that's fine, but then don't bitch about it.
No, bitch about it.
Well, I mean, it's seriously like I want to do this, but I'm not willing to put the time, effort, or money into it.
I've spent a lot of money on blazers, and I don't. But if I don't find what I like.
If you spent the money on half the blazers on picking stuff that you'd like and getting them tailored, you'd be fine.
So where do I get stuff tailored in Billings?
Elite Couture Sewing.
Where's that at?
In Bell & Blanc, Jerry. That's who I would do. That's the only person I trust.
Okay. Well, I will.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
I'd love to see you in a 3-piece suit.
3-piece?
3-piece suit, unbuttoned shirt, like one of your fedoras, like your trilbies, and like sneaks.
Start with a coat and work my way from there. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, but in that 3-piece, like that kind of casual, like that's streetwear. That's P2Amo.
Yeah.
This is P2Amo. This is streetwear. Like this is street style is what is the translation. And that's what it's about. You should hashtag search on Instagram sometime.
Okay.
Hashtag PITTI Uamo. UOMO. PT Uamo.
I will.
And it's all street style. There's actually a week, P2Amo week in Milan.
Oh, really?
It's a men's street style fashion week.
Huh.
P2Amo.
Interesting. I love that. Yeah, I
want to go so bad.
I guess I don't know enough about that style to know like what I'm buying.
Start in that hashtag, and you'll start to see that because you're a patterns guy and a visceral guy. You'll start to see. To see it.
On the other side of fashion,
what sneaks you got for me?
I don't. It's a Japanese fashion designer. I think it's pronounced Aikachi Hiroto.
It's probably. Oh, that is interesting. Aikachi.
Yeah, I think it's Aikachi Hiroto. But if you scroll through it, he designs like very.
How hard that had to be to get that.
Yeah, very futuristic. I mean, obviously, it's not something you wear every day, but this is just what he specializes in. And it's so unique and like it's just so different from what anybody's doing. It looks kind of like
it's anime.
Yeah, futuristic battle anime, but streetwear.
Yeah,
it's obviously it's nothing that like I would wear or anybody would wear.
It is very interesting.
Yeah, and just I think he just takes just kind of recycled things and makes stuff out of it, like big hands, big claws, like mechanical looking claws. These helmets.
It's very interesting.
Isn't it?
It's very anime.
Yeah.
It's very anime, which I actually dabble in, if you believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting.
Isn't it? It's, I saw it a while ago, and it's wildly fascinating to me that someone can see that in their mind and then actually bring it into life and create it. But totally on the opposite spectrum. But
that's so crazy,
isn't it?
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And that's cool because they have their models, wearing dresses and then having,
these just crazy headgears. It's very Gundam Wing.
That's a good description.
That's a throwback for some of you.
Yeah, that's a really good description.
I loved Gundam as a kid.
Like this one where it's two business people that have like these wild helmet things on.
Yeah.
That's just,
and he could be close to the future. We don't know.
Yeah, it's just so refreshing, I suppose, might be the term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You got anything else?
No, not passion.
I have one more good Instagram follow. It's called The Workwear Years. It's 1930s inspired, 1940s old photos. So it's all, if you want to scroll through, it's all photos of gentlemen just doing stuff in the 1930s and 40s.
I love that.
But it's cool because it highlights kind of the style and what it was in kind of a day-to-day life and what was normal back then.
Yeah.
Which is strangely starting to make some rounds back.
Oh yeah, no,
it could trend today.
Oh yeah, no, and that's just it. Like people don't realize everything comes back around. That's so cool. Is that Marlon Brando?
I don't know.
Yes, that is Marlon Brando. He was the man.
But yeah, it's a very fascinating Instagram account.
That is very interesting. That's wicked.
Yeah, pretty fun.
That's wicked.
Yeah, it's fun to see, like big pants.
Yeah, which I've actually purchased a few bell-bottomish pants lately because I like them.
Some Western wear.
Yeah,
like most people's shirts are tucked in. Mm-hmm. It's just very casual and I don't know. It's cool. It's fascinating to me.
I love that. Yeah. I love that you've discovered this stuff.
Yeah, it's really fun. Anything else?
Mm-mm. I have car news.
Go ahead. Launch in.
So because of you,
yes,
I've discovered Haggerty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obsessed.
Yes.
And there's one I want to touch on in particular. Definitely check out Haggerty. The Historic Vehicle Association works with Haggerty to do like they did the Countach documentary. That was the Historical Vehicle Association.
Oh, okay.
And that's who kind of puts that on. This is the Black Ghost. It is a heavy Challenger, 70s heavy Challenger in triple black with gator print on the roof.
So good.
Yeah, check that out. Anyway, it's about this 82nd Airborne vet turned police officer in Detroit. And the reason I want to bring this up is back in the day, you would go in when you ordered a car like that and you had all these options.
Yeah.
And you just checked off. It wasn't like a package. You could just check off which ones you want and they'd build it that way.
Subway.
And he built this car this way with the big Hemi, the RT, and he was a police officer in Detroit.
Oh, no way.
And he would go out at night randomly and race people and then disappear. And he'd nicknamed the Black Ghost. And it's fascinating. It's like a 40-minute documentary. It's a fascinating story.
Huh.
But it got me thinking, think about, we both really love Porsche.
Yes.
And I think I can say we both really love the new 911.
Mm-hmm.
If we could literally pick and choose, and we're going to touch on a new 911 in a bit here.
Okay.
But if you could literally not have to get a package, if you could just pick and choose what you wanted on a car, how much better off would cars be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And from like a resale value, even with Barn Find Hunter as an example on Haggerty Street. Yeah. He found a country Squire that had been parked in a storage unit for ages. Mm-hmm. It's a one-of-one car ordered by the I think the GM of GM at the time, of Chevy at the time, and And he ordered it with everything power, everything, but it's a 5-speed transmission. It's manual transmission. It has all these different power options, different engine, and he ends up buying this car.
I would have.
Yeah, and he was talking in that people just don't offer that anymore. But it's something that's so unique and so rare. But Porsche's kind of doing something similar where they have like a ton of different colors you can order in, and
they make a ton of different platforms for what you need. You know, they have the Carrera S, the Carrera 4S, the Carrera, RS, But the thing for me is that how much better and how much easier would it be to get a car that you like? But also, how much better would it be? Everything's unique. Like, you can really make it your own.
Yes.
And you get up into like the Pagani and the Koenigsegg levels of the world. That's exactly what you do.
Right. And you should for that amount of money.
Yeah. Singer, you can still do that.
Right.
But like mainstream cars, it just breaks my heart a little bit.
Well, yeah, because cars went from being, something that was a joy and something that was something very personal and people took very, very serious into just like a mode of transportation to A to B, something to pick up the kids from, something to go get groceries in, you really don't care as long as it runs and drives,
I always like the Country Squire too.
Yes. And so now, this could be a little bit of a culture beast prediction.
Oh, I love it.
Harkening back to when we saw when predicted a battle of coupes coming back, right? Because if you noticed, Toyota released the 6-speed manual transmission, and on the same very day, Nissan released the future coming Z car, or the Nismo tuned Z.
The Z isn't even really, nobody's gotten an order yet and they're already releasing the Nismo.
Yes. But it's cool because you're just kind of seeing that little bit of competition,
Which is important.
Yes. And it's like what we talked about.
Honda's out of the game.
Honda's out of the game. Especially with the new Integra. Completely out of touch with what the consumer wants.
Well, not only that, but did you see the new Type R?
No. Is it the 4-door one? Yeah.
It looks...
And you get in a manual transmission for $5,000 more.
It looks like how the STI looks. It's this creature comfort that with a fancy scaffolding and a fancy
they tried to, did you see the commercial they made for it? Yeah, they're like we're so in touch with the tuners and
bullshit.
This. You didn't even ask anybody.
Because we would have been like, why don't you build a different car?
You ask your old chairman, that have 4 kids and a dog and But what I was going with that is since Porsche is being more specific to what you order, right? They're being more conscious of what the customer wants individually. There could be, that little bit of competition in the other manufacturers. Audi, Volkswagen probably never will.
No, they're too big to fail.
Yeah, too big to fail.
I love when people say that.
I couldn't see a Honda or a Toyota or Ford doing that. Maybe Ford.
No, here's the thing. I was actually going to touch on this. Ford, take the new Bronco, for example. They have like 5 or 6 different setups.
That's a good point.
And then in those setups, you can pick and choose what you want.
That's a good point, yeah.
Giving people 5 or 6 different platforms and then choosing the options. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, I didn't think about
Ford's
that.
got that.
I think you're right.
I swear to God. Though. If you cut back any more vehicles, I'm going to be pissed. They're no longer making the Focus. The Focus RS and the Fiesta ST.
Yep.
Brilliant cars.
Yep.
So what did they do? They got rid of them.
Yep.
And instead, they gave me a electric SUV Mustang.
Yes.
Suck it.
So
it's disgusting. I know you love it, but I hate it.
I hate it.
I think it's so
dumb. Okay. I like the one that they made like 1,400 horsepower and just absolutely bananas.
I didn't. Even that sound still haunts me.
I like that.
I know you did, Mr. Fish.
And just because I think I'm afraid that electric cars aren't going to make sounds.
That one did.
Yes, and that's what I mean. I was like, okay, yeah.
And it's literally just drivetrain gear. Yeah. That's all that was.
Just whining
but no, I think Ford did a great job. But I also see, this is my kind of worry is for every good thing that a car company does, I see 3 bad things that they do. And it's like...
Yeah. Yep. It's tiresome.
Yeah. Like you're seeing we're getting a GR Corolla. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. We lost the Land Cruiser. Mm-hmm. Was that worth it? Mm. We're getting this cool, I think it's disgusting, but Hyundai's doing the Santa Cruz, this truck, but we lost the Veloster N.
Right.
I don't want the truck. I want the Veloster N.
Right.
I love the Veloster N. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like most companies are really I'm losing faith in them. And there's like one or two that's really stuck out to me that they're still doing bad shit, crazy stuff.
Sure.
But I feel like, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and kind of insult them all as a whole. I feel like most car companies have become pretty domesticated.
Oh yeah.
And unwilling to take risks. And then, like, the new Nissan Z came out. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
400 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, gearbox in the middle, front engine. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. The sports car, engine in the front, gearbox in the middle. 2
turbos.
Yeah. Boom. Love it. Price, love it.
Yes.
Design, retro, futuristic, love it. Love everything about it.
Yep. Except?
So what we're actually going to do is we're going to focus more on our truck and SUV department.
Yeah.
Bring back the Silvia. Mm-hmm. Bring back... Okay, here's the thing. You've had it for 15 years. Redesign the GTR.
Yeah.
Make it the enthusiast consumer-based product that it is. Lower the price. Put it back on the enthusiast market. Why would I go pay $110 for a GTR, in my mind, not knowing what a GTR is,
right,
when I can go pay 65, 80, 70 grand for a turboed 6-speed Supra?
Absolutely. It's gonna...
No offense, a Supra's a prettier car now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I'm just kind of fed up with it, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better about companies carving out a spot for sports cars.
You're just thinking that because you love Toyota. They're really the only people doing it.
Well, and no, Nissan. I guess Toyota finally responded with the 6-speed transmission.
Nissan, one sports car does not a car company make.
Yeah, but Jag has a couple sports cars.
Jag?
Don't they?
They have an F-Type.
Yeah. So that's in the. They're still making that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think they discontinued. What does that price out as?
Probably 65, 70 grand.
So the same amount as a Supra.
Yeah, but you don't, unless you're middle aged and have a crisis, you don't buy a Jag. You buy a Supra.
I'm saying
I would buy the Jag, but I'm a middle aged man trapped in this body.
It's the same price point,
Yeah, but I guess my point is that there's it. I feel like they're catering. They're, like you said earlier, they're listening to the wrong people. Mm-hmm. And it's showing. And we're in these once great titan of cars.
Sure.
The STI, the 22B, the Skyline, the Supra.
Yeah.
We're seeing that they're now catered to the people who... They're not catered to the people who grew up with those titans.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, even if you look at, okay, let's look at Nissan's lineup during the R34 Skyline. What did they have?
They had a Sentra SER.
Okay.
They had the Skyline, the R34. They had an SE and an SER model of the Altima or Maxima. I can't remember.
Okay.
I think it was the Altima. Yeah, they had an SER version of the Altima because Jake Lowther had one.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I guess they would have had...
and that was a 5-speed, 6-speed.
They would have had the Sylvia around then too, yeah?
That was around the last time they made... Yeah, that fancy one, yeah.
So they had a pretty big...
They did have a... Yeah.
More than what
those
they're now.
Altima SERs.
Oh, yeah.
They were nice.
Yeah. So I guess comparatively, like, it's diminished quite a bit.
I would love to see them do a fastback Corolla.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yes. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be... Do a GR fastback Corolla. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like most people they're trying to take their consumer cars and make them fun, you know?
Why not just give us a fun car that's a consumer car?
Right.
Just beat us to it. Give us a fun car. Mm-hmm. It's not hard.
Shouldn't be.
No, but it is, because all these executives that used to be fun and cool are now old and fat.
Yeah. Until the young blood comes in and...
Well, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but the problem with that is the old blood has to die first. That's true. Or somehow people
retire.
Don't realize they should have been put out to pasture already. Probably something people are saying about me, but here we are.
Keep on going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that argument for sure. Because I'm trying to like go through my head and think of like what other cars there are, but there's
in my knowledge, and you're going to disagree with this because you're going to throw out Toyota. So just know I already know you're going to do that.
Okay.
There's one company that listens that is a consumer company that listens to the consumer, and that's Porsche.
That's true. That's true.
Because Toyota goes, oh, we're going to dangle this in front of you, but we're really going to focus on our van and SUV.
And even they made a very limited quantity of the GR Corolla. So, but Porsche, you're very right.
You can do whatever. Porsche, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you want a 6-speed in this? We're going to keep doing a 6-speed in this, you know?
We're going to talk about that. Actually, let's just segue into that.
Go ahead.
So remember when I said I really wanted a 964, I wanted the SC, the Sport Classic.
Yeah.
Because it was a little more driver focused, a little less amenities, a little lighter, you know. And it had a ducktail, you know, and all this stuff that I loved. In 2023, Porsche's bringing back the 911 Sport Classic.
Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't seen
drive,
it, but...
and they're turboing it. It's in the turbo model, in the range, I mean. And it is the most powerful manual 911.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. That the Rondo. You just like the Rondo, really.
It is a plus.
The racing stripes.
And here's the best part. Because the 2022 911 Turbo and Turbo S are all-wheel drive. That's rear-wheel drive.
Oh, really? Interesting. Oh, do you want to... I'm going to say something. I think for the first time in a long time, a coach builder has inspired mainstream manufacturing.
Did you see the inside?
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, there's that houndstooth seat.
Yep.
Looks like a houndstooth seat.
Well, because the old Sports Classic, that was an option.
Yeah. And this is like, has a very big reminiscence or nods to Singer. Like it feels like as
what Singer to the enthusiasts. And they're taking fucking notes.
Yes. So good. Those wheels are huge.
They're massive.
Oh,
they're
my
like 21, 22. They're massive.
That's like what comes on SUVs these days.
Literally painted a tire on there.
Yeah.
And charged $1,800 because they all happened to also paint Pirelli on there. Yeah. Those bastards.
That ducktail is super cool.
And it's functional, which I like.
So good. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think they are one of the few, and maybe the.
And here's a controversial thing. Go ahead. I'm trying to get better not interrupting Paul because he says interrupt him all the time.
I appreciate that.
Which is bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. It's not bullshit. It happens a lot. One of the things that kind of, and this is kind of controversial, I think, but I think one of the reasons I know that Porsche responds well to their Christmas bells, apparently, jingle bell. I'm kidding. Is that they haven't changed the car very much. Yeah, they've modernized it, but they haven't changed it. Right. And so to me, that goes well. It goes to the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right. Yeah, because from a styling perspective, you know it's a Porsche. Did you see the center gauge by chance? I did. The classic. And the the tachometer up here. Yeah. It's really well done. The other thing, and I'm going to read you some facts now. Okay. Okay. It's and one of my favorites is it's that the only other place you can get the leather, that cognac leather seats is in the 918. Oh, really? Yeah. So they're really taking all the best. So the styling tweaks, they're paying homage to the Carrera RS. Right. And it's a purist piece, but so it's going back to that, but it's got that turbo power level. So, and it's a 7-speed manual, rear wheel drive, 3.7 liter twin turbo flat six. Nice. So 543 horsepower, 442 foot pounds. How much horsepower? 543. Good Lord. Yeah. And the turbo is 572. Turbo S is 640. So it's basically they're making a base model turbo, which is brilliant. But here's the crazy thing: the only other manual 911 is the GT3, which is the hypercar, ultra lightweight. It has 502 horsepower.
Interesting.
The GT3.
Wow.
It's faster than the GT3.
That's crazy.
With all the creature comforts, not taking anything out of it. Active Sport. This is the things I like about it because they're listening. They're like, okay, what can we make it do to drive better? Ceramic composite brakes, standard. Porsche Active Suspension Management Sport. That can lower the ride by 10 millimeters. Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control, rear wheel steering, sport exhaust, and the Sport Chrono Pack, standard.
Wow.
Front suspension springs rates were decreased slightly compared to Turbo S since it's all-wheel drive. Or since it's rear-wheel drive, they need that.
Right.
You know. And that DuckTales carbon fiber.
Oh, it is. Interesting. What other colors does it come in? Is it just the gray?
A fixed front lip, special center lock wheels. It really is just... and they're making 1,250 of them.
1,250? That's a bummer.
Limited to 1,250 units. However, we don't know the price yet. But they have said that they are not opposed to making more.
Interesting. I'm sure it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, it's more of an enthusiast. This is somebody who has several Porsches and wants,
What I was thinking of when you were talking was this is one of the few cars coming out now that in 20 or 30 years...
This is Bomber, by the way.
Yes.
He's our mascot.
He's a good boy. Yeah. In 20 or 30 years, when somebody opens a garage door, sees that car, it's going to be considered a classic, a desirable classic.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. These are going to be worth millions of dollars one day. And they also listen to their history, because if you look at the dial here and the tachometer up here, or in the chronograph, all the numbers and dials are green.
Oh, really?
From the old 964.
That's cool.
SC. Yeah. So they really, it's well done.
Yeah. Good on them.
And it's not just we're making it with nice paint and we're putting it in a fancy old suit.
Sure.
No, it's 543 horsepower.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Rear wheel drive too.
Yeah.
It's not all-wheel drive. So like the Turbo S was 640. It's all-wheel drive.
Right.
So you got some 4 tires putting down that power.
Yes.
This is rear-wheel drive. You're going to slide all over the place.
Yes.
I foresee that being one of those cars that, like a Koenigsegg or a Pagani, like you have to know how to drive. You have to drive that car, or else that car is going to drive you.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
And that's, I think, what a lot of newer enthusiasts don't understand is that old cars like that, like that's how, like that people say one of the hardest cars to drive fast is the Renault Turbo 5 from the 80s, just because of how it was built.
Sure.
You have to drive the car or it'll drive you.
Right. Which
so
is
I think
awesome.
I'm very excited for that car.
So good. I think people like really want that.
Yeah.
Especially people that have a lot of Porsches. Like that's something they want.
Yeah. I foresee it being in the $130,000, $140,000 range.
Probably. With as much.
Because a Turbo S is 120, 130, something like that. Yeah. And you're getting fancy. 130, 140 is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Which for someone that has that much money, sure.
Yeah, if you have several Porsches, you just sell one and buy that one.
It's not. It
would be my preferred. If I lived in California or somewhere, it'd be my preferred Porsche. Modern.
Yeah, I don't know. As a daily driver?
Yep.
Huh. I love 4-door things these days.
I know.
And hatches.
Oh, you've loved hatches since I've known you.
And just like from the practical standpoint,
practicality.
It really is, man.
Practicality is the death of fun.
It's true. It really is. Because, man, I used to love 2-door hatchbacks or 3-door hatchbacks. And owning one is a pain in the ass. Oh, my gosh.
And it's funny because you dress like you should be like, practicality is dumb. And I dress like I'm, your dad going, you need to be practical. And it's the opposite. I'm like, this is bullshit. And you're like, well, I like the practicality of it.
Yeah. And maybe it's just that car that's a pain to own as a 3-door. Because, like, okay, so when you read...
It's a 2-door locking.
Yeah.
The 1-door doesn't lock.
Don't tell anybody. But when you pull the seat forward to get into the back seat, it resets where you put the seat. So you have to reset the seat to where you had it every single time you get into the back seat. So I don't want to get into the back seat.
It's literally like punishing you
Yes.
for not buying the photo.
Yes. You should have bought those extra doors. And I hate when my seat gets moved. I hate having to readjust my seat. And they put the lever to adjust like the up and down, like on the side that you get into it. So your thigh always hits it. So it always goes down. It's just wasn't thought out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Volkswagen.
Yeah. But my Yaris was great because you can throw photo gear in the back seat or whatever and just open up that back door and get into it.
Yeah. You could reach the front from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It was so tiny.
Yeah, we put it in the back of the truck.
I put 4 sets of tires in the back.
I have no idea how.
I have no idea how. I didn't either. I was like, I'm not taking my truck all the way, so I'm going to figure it out. Strap it to the roof if I got it.
I have no idea how you did that. I was so surprised.
It was so good.
Yeah. What do you got car-wise? I have a couple things, but I want to.
I have a discrepancy against Chevrolet.
Oh, I can't wait. I have many, so go ahead.
Yes. For making a electric Corvette. All-wheel drive.
I was wondering if you were going to touch on this.
Yeah.
If you weren't, I was going to.
Looks like it's going to be all-wheel drive.
Yep.
And it's just like, leave the dang car alone. Leave it alone.
They're not going to.
No.
There's going to be an SUV too, probably.
Yes. Yeah, I brought that up. There's going to be an SUV. It's just, you want to talk about companies that are out of touch. It's Chevy.
The Blazer. We lost all faith in Chevy after the Blazer.
Right.
And we thought, a mid-engine Corvette, I was like, it's going to bring it back. And it's a great car.
Yes.
But it still doesn't, the Blazer, you can't forgive that.
No.
You can't.
The Trailblazer is a cool SUV. I like the Trailblazer as a cool. I don't like it named being the Trailblazer.
They don't make a Trailblazer anymore.
Yeah, they do.
No, they're not.
I passed one on the way up here.
They make a Trailblazer?
Yes, I passed one.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's a smaller SUV. It's a decent looking SUV, but to call it a Trailblazer.
Oh my God, they have a Trailblazer.
Yeah.
Let's show me a picture. Ugh.
And I
don't like that at all.
I don't mind it.
I think it's stupid.
In person, it's smaller, more compact.
1.2 liter 3-cylinder, Paul.
Well.
Oh, or you can get the sport model, 1.3 liter 3-cylinder.
Wow, really going for it.
155 horsepower.
Nice. Which an SUV, like okay, like who cares? And it's just like it's like an econo box,
It's garbage.
I don't mind the way it looks. I like the way it looks in person more in photos.
Well, I hope so. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it's like one of the only SUVs that's kind of okay. It's not like perfect by any means, but as like it's okay to me. But that wears like the Trailblazer badge,
Yeah, and it bring back, if you're gonna bring back these iconic, the Blazer was a big deal.
Yes, it's still a big deal.
It's
the K5,
K5,
you see a K5 when you're driving the road.
They're great. Yeah, and GMC Jimmy,
yep.
The Ram Charger, they were the Bronco.
Yep.
And the thing with nostalgia, like that, let's take that Porsche for example.
Yes.
They took all the right little things and all the right cues and then modernized it.
Yep. Perfect.
You have the Z is a great homage to what it used to be.
Yep.
The Supra, I don't know what the hell they were thinking there.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? There has to be some sort of honoring the past. And if you don't, then don't bring it back because you're going to piss off people like us. Now, granted, we're 2 people, but we have a following. Yeah. Like, thank 5 of you for watching. But yeah, I if you're going to do nostalgia, you have to honor it.
Exactly. And, we're starting to see more companies nod to nostalgia because that's what the consumer wants, which is very fascinating. Because for so long through the 90s and early thousands, car companies were redesigning everything. Yeah. There's a couple cars
life was good then.
Yeah,
when life's shit, you want nostalgia. You want to think of the good times.
That's very true. I wonder if that's an anchoring point.
Probably.
Yeah. Because, there's maybe 2 or 3 makes and models that have carried that through. The Mustang, the 911, and the Corvette.
There's some others. But, like, for that long pedigree.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mustang came out in 64 and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know when the Corvette came out in the 50s. The C1 came out in the 50s. Mustang was 64 and a half, and the 911 was 50s. Well, the 911 one, the body style, the 356.
Right.
But the 911 was like 61, 60. Yeah, so they've been.
But it's carried that styling. You know what it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas like the Blazer, went from the K5 into like whatever the 90s were. That was weird.
Yeah, it was tiny. It was weird.
Yeah. I mean the one that was like the 2-door.
I know that's what I'm saying. It was so strange.
That was so strange. It was cool. Like the Cyclone or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was a GMC Jimmy Typhoon.
Was it?
Yeah.
The Blazer one.
I'm thinking the Typhoon, the Jimmy.
The truck or the SUV?
The SUV.
Yeah, the SUV. I don't know. They're all the same to me in that era.
They're all the same.
Because Chevy made the S10 in that time, and then they made the GMC Jimmy, and then they made the Isuzu whatever that shared the exact same.
I love Isuzus because they're just so ridiculous.
But that body style was like the same thing all across.
The S10 that was until the 2000s.
Yeah, there's the same body style across the entire thing.
Now I have the Colorado.
I have the Colorado. I do think the new Nissan Frontier looks cool. I like that truck a lot. And
I said on the podcast not too long ago that I liked it, and I don't anymore. I've seen it in person. I've seen
modified ones online, and it looks
rad. That Ranger with those 1552s was very nice. That was nice.
Yeah, I saw a red Frontier that had been lifted and a couple other things, and it looked proper. Looked really good.
I don't know how I feel about that.
One small thing I wanted to bring up, Rally Croatia happened just recently.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good. It was very, very interesting. Kalaravan Para took first. He's the youngest driver in the WRC. He's 21 years old.
He's doing well.
Yep. The team principal, Jari-Matti Latvala, has called him a prodigy, which he's leading the WRC points right now. So it's cool. I like how the hybrid era has kind of put everybody into a even playing field of sorts, where they're all developing on the fly. Each round is a development for them. I never thought
about it like that. That's a good point.
So whereas Ford is doing better this year than what they ever have, Craig Breen took fourth. It was Rally's so interesting because the way that it's timed, the way that things just work out in Rally is just so fascinating. So Thierry Neuville, he's on Hyundai. He couldn't get his car started, or his car lost a belt, so he had to push his car the rest of the way through a stage. He lost 13 seconds because of it. On the very final stage, he went off the road, had this huge accident, somehow got the car started, lost 23 seconds, and still took third.
Which is unreal.
Yeah, and it's just crazy how Rally works in that way.
Is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, and he hit that bank hard. Put his car in a 180. And it was, I didn't think he was going to finish, which I like Craig Breen anyways. So I was hoping he would get a podium, but WRC Rally's just a totally different thing that not a lot of people talk about. And I want that to be a staple of this podcast. Someone.
Well, I will do my due diligence to get more into it.
And if it's not for you, it's for just the sake of people talking about Rally and WRC on a regular basis.
Because I'm on Formula One. I talk more about Formula One and stuff, which I like. Which I haven't talked about Formula One in a few weeks because what's going on with Hamilton, who my guy is. I don't want to talk about it.
It's interesting because Ferrari's at the top of for the first time in a long time,
and Mercedes isn't even placing.
Yeah, which is wildly fascinating. Yeah. It's
which makes me sad,
but it's good for them to have to push to develop harder.
Yes,
because I think they got comfortable for a while.
Well, they did because they were the premier. They were it,
and now they have a challenge, which makes the season even more interesting.
It is making it more interesting and gritty, but I also wish Hamilton wouldn't react so much like a little baby. He is moaning a lot. Speaking of hybrids, and electric cars, the Polestar 2. I want to talk about that for a minute.
Go ahead,
if I may.
Yes.
I'm going to use my little tray here.
There you go.
Because it makes it easier to read.
Absolutely.
So there is a Top Gear. They do tests, long-term tests of cars.
Sure.
Which I still love that Top Gear still does that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important. So they did Polestar released a software update for the Polestar 2.
Okay.
It literally is a download. It's an update. It takes about 90 minutes and 1,000 euros.
1,000 euros?
1,000 euros. And it's an online shop. Your car goes to sleep for 90 minutes and wakes up with another 67 horsepower and 15 pounds of torque. So you're at 475 and 502, respectively. 0 to 60 to 4.4. And it makes the car faster.
By 60.
You go from a 4.7 0 to 60 to 4.4. Half a second quicker, basically, than before.
For $1,000.
But here's the thing. Not only do you get that, but apparently it snuck in 30 miles of range.
Interesting. Huh.
And so what this person says, and what I kind of got from it, is it's interesting. It's interesting to now if we can do this to every car, not only will we be able as it gets, because the hardware is already there. Mm-hmm. If we can upgrade, Tesla, 600-mile range. Well, if they find out how to do a 700-mile range, 90-minute update.
Sure.
Take it to the dealership.
Yeah.
It's wireless. It's Wi-Fi.
Right.
And so it makes me think, if we can do this, I think, and this is a Culture Beast prediction, mm-hmm. I think that's going to be the next,
mod.
The next car modding mm-hmm. is going to be these software updates.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put this update with this new chip. Mm-hmm. Instead of going, well, I'm going to put these headers on it with this supercharger, with this,
yep.
ECU and brakes and fuel systems. And I think we're looking at the beginning. The seed is starting to sprout mm-hmm. for the next, the 90s were for, mm-hmm. What's the word I'm looking for?
Tuning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. I think we're looking
mm-hmm.
at the next wave, the next generation starting to sprout.
Have you seen?
And I think it's going to start happening and my other prediction is that we're going to start building cars fit for the software updates that we can give mm-hmm. it, gas cars and otherwise.
Yeah. It's starting.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Instagram account Tesla Beamer? Okay, so it's interesting. He was on Revival's podcast a couple weeks ago. Tesla Beamer. Guy's name is John Volk.
I know that name.
He's taken a E30 convertible and swapped it completely with a Tesla drivetrain. And he was talking that most of the work that he does to work on his car now is just programming.
Yeah.
So he's got a switch in the center of his car that's just all touch, and so when he wants to swipe the windows down, he just pushes it down, and when he wants the windows to go up, he slides his finger up and they go up. But that's all he does is just code his car essentially. Mm-hmm. And he did a really cool thing. He made the charging point behind the grill, like the BMW grill. So the center of the grill folds out, and that's where the charging point is.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So he said the only thing that he's really done mechanically is plumb new cooling, the new cooling system. So
with batteries, you have to have a different cooling system,
right? And that's the only thing he's done mechanically to help the car. Here's a video of that switch. I don't know if there's sound on it or not. You could probably trim the volume. But he the one swipe down rolls down the windows, and he can select different things on it, and that's how he programs his car. Yeah,
that's crazy,
isn't it?
With this idea, you're also seeing people take car design that they love and putting this modern technology into it. Dude, I think we're about to see a really big revival with this hybrid and electric technology. And I was the slowest, I think, in Culture Beast staff to come around to
it.
Because I have more hybrid news.
Oh, okay.
And I've been really looking at it as more of a help, not a hindrance. And it's really been hard for me.
I hope you're able to convince me I hope you're able to convince me.
Yeah, I thought I would be the most stubborn of us, you know, but I'm really starting to come around to it because I see now it's kind of like tried and tested and it's working. Mm-hmm. I mean, the new Genesis G90, which they did a small redesign, and it's even prettier than the other one, which I didn't know was possible. They're doing a 420 horsepower hybrid V6.
Okay.
Which is on the short and long wheelbase, 48 volt hybrid system. So it's 420 horsepower, and you're looking at, it is a big car.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's getting 25 miles a gallon.
That's pretty good.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a,
V6
and obviously it's turboed and everything like that.
Sure.
But they also redesigned it, and it's.
It was a beautiful car to start with. So.
Yeah. No,
You're like, you don't even know.
You don't. It's even prettier.
Oh wow.
It's even pretty. The rear, especially.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's ridiculous.
Those lights are
because I was the G80 fan. Remember with the slope? Mm-hmm. The G90 is now my car.
Oh yeah, the rear end is stunning.
Absolutely stunning. And I think we've harped up on Genesis making some of the prettiest cars. And I think why I love them so much is, one, they're gorgeous, and two, they're not really taking design cues from anybody else.
That's a fact.
And other people do.
Mm-hmm.
When the A7 came out, suddenly there was the CLS.
Right.
Suddenly that is its own car.
That's a fact. They have their own design language.
Yeah, and Hyundai's not stealing any of it.
Mm-mm. I love that roof, how it's just the full glass and it folds into the rear.
It is, and it's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. They're really trying to make Genesis its own brand, and I love that. And I support them. I want to buy one.
Yes, I love that.
You can pick up a 2-year-old G70 twin turbo for with 15,000 miles on it for $35,000.
That's not bad.
I love the big Maybach style wheels though.
Yeah, that's a big car.
It's a huge car, and that's a long wheelbase, and I think that's how I would get it, just because it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's sweet.
But it is, I think, probably
Genesis is killing it.
They're killing it. And the fact that they're embracing new technologies, they are going to build a luxury car for entry level on up to Maybach. I mean, that's prettier, and it has more of a presence than the Maybach does.
Yeah, or the new BMWs. Yeah. I would argue.
And I mean, the lines, the lights, and if you look where the bottom headlight is,
yep,
it's the same where that is.
Yep, and then that grill, the not on the fenders, those two lines on the fenders matches that.
It follows throughout.
Mm-hmm. I like that C pillar. How it's just kind of a little bit. Yeah, it's stunning.
I mean. Yeah,
it just seems nice to drive. It's somewhere that you want to be.
Yeah. And I love how, they didn't overcomplicate the interior.
The seats are just a cool,
One of my biggest things was Mercedes going all touchscreen and everything. It's just such a complicated fucking car. Mm-hmm. This is not. And it's gorgeous. And they're letting the design speak for... I mean, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is cool. And I like that they kept a lot of the textile knobs on the inside. Mm-hmm. So I think for me...
Fit and finish, baby.
But even from a driving perspective, I don't want to have to look at a screen to change my volume. Mm-hmm. I want to know where my volume knob is and be able to turn it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I like that they have, but like you said, buttons and toggle switches. But also, I mean, look at that shifting knob.
Oh wow! Oh, it's cool. Mm-hmm. It looks like a champagne glass, or it looks like this glass.
Yeah, like a crystal cut. Mm-hmm. I mean, little stuff like that, man.
And it would feel nice to touch.
And look at how just elegant and classic. It's an old school design, that steering wheel.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Cool. Yeah. Those vents are cool too.
Yeah. And I love, and this is something I have an issue with Mercedes. I love the digital dashes, but when they're all connected, I want individual. Right. I want, and I love that there's separation. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of, and those snowflake wheels.
Yeah, that's strong.
I mean, it's just,
I don't know if they could have done better. I don't think there's anything I would change.
No, and that's rare. Mm-hmm. And I'm so also glad they didn't I call this in the car industry over-chroming.
Over-chroming, yeah.
Stop. I don't need every trim piece to have chrome on it.
Right.
This has chrome around the windows, chrome around the bottom. That's it. And around the grill. That's it.
That's all it needs.
They're not over-chrome. They don't chrome in every little thing. It's brilliant. It's gorgeous. It has depth. And I like it. I think Genesis is making the prettiest cars on the market right now.
Here's a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, this is just an off, I don't have an answer to this.
Okay. I probably do.
You probably do. Do you think the redesigned Volvo S90 inspired a different design language in car manufacturing?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Because preceding that, what was designed at, like, with that intentionality, with that textile, with that sort of a design language, interior and exterior, rivaled that.
I'm formulating.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great example of where car design is going. I think that if I want to say that was the match to the powder keg, that was the kickoff. Yeah. I don't know, because the genesis is this design language has been in prototype language for a long time. Sure. It's not something that's new.
Sure.
But I think production wise, Volvo kind of, I mean, when Volvo came out with that car, it won best interior design and best exterior design 2 years running. I mean, instantly. Yeah, rightfully so. So nobody'd ever seen anything like that. Exactly.
And so the way that Genesis is designed feels like a lot of those intentional nuances in what I saw in the 2017 S90s.
Well, something that people didn't, Volvo might have figured it out, but what people haven't, I think, initially figured out when that car came out is how it embarrassed the Germans. Because if you think of a luxury sedan, you think of 3 cars instantly. Right. Yeah. You think of BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Right. Instantly, that's what you think. And then you go, well, Lexus, and you kind of get into it. But instantly, it's those 3. Because that's just how cars manufacture. That's how it's set up. Yep. And I think that's something that people didn't, it's a beautiful car, But what they didn't take into consideration is how embarrassed the Germans were, because we saw a huge overhaul and the curves and the fit and finish, and that suddenly become very prevalent in the German design language. So I think you might have a point. Yeah. But what I think is happening is that, you look at the current Toyota Century. Yeah. Like the president had, president Toyota has. Yes. And you're starting to see the Japanese and the Korean here, and the Asian culture saying, we actually know how to build. Yes. We've been doing it for a long time. Yes. And now we're going to show you how we've designed the cars that we have that you can't get. Yep. Whereas I think so. Do I think it kicked off? What I think is it showed the American consumer and the European consumer what is possible when designers are left to do just that. Right, right. And now, take the Corolla, or the Hyundai Accent, where the lights blend into the grill and it's very sharp angles, but very curvy in its own way. Right. They've been doing that for years. That's true. Over there. We just haven't gotten these cars. So I think what we're seeing is the Germans are no longer the head of the design game. Sure. And instead of doing what they should have done to get back in that game, they tried to reinvent their own wheel. That's a good point. And they said, well, we'll double down. Yeah. Well, we're BMW. I'm going to make every Mercedes look just like I'm going to make the C-Class look like the S-Class, and I'm going to double down on the design that I have because I won't be embarrassed. Right. What happens when you get embarrassed? You get scared. You get scared and you go, well, no, I'm fine. I'm doing it. I'm just, and that's what they did. Yep. Instead of going, you know what, I'm going to show you what we're capable of. Having said that, Kia, Hyundai, Genesis, Toyota, even dare I say, Honda, the Accord. Yeah, they're starting to show us, and before they used to say, current S-Class in 10 years, everything that'll be the standard of cars. And design-wise, you look at the Germans, and then that's how you design a car. Right. I think that has gone by the wayside. Yeah. I think we need to start looking at the Asian car market and go, this is working. Yep. The Nissan Juke, which I hate. I despise it. But that's a very Asian design.
It is.
You look at the Cube. What is that called? The Soul. Kia Soul.
Yeah.
Now, who did the boxcar first?
Right.
Scion.
Yes.
Toyota.
Yeah.
And Scion was them. I'm going to speak. This is just my opinion.
Sure.
I think Scion was Toyota's toe in the water.
Yeah.
And notice how Scion went away. They were absorbed by Toyota, and they kept certain things and they didn't keep certain things.
Right.
Scion, and I said this, I think in like the second or third podcast, I think Scion was a science project.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a school project for Toyota.
Yeah.
And it worked because it brought us. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sorry. Everybody's like, oh, the FRS or whatever its blood was the Scion TC.
Yes. And that car TC. Started to bring back sport coupes.
Yep.
Yeah. You're very right about that.
I think we are in a renaissance of car design that is being led by the Asians, and which is strange because it's not the Germans or the Italians.
Yeah.
We're actually seeing the Germans and the Italians. And the reason I say the Germans and the Italians is not because I'm picking on them, it's because I think they are the epitome of car design.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are having to play catch up now.
Absolutely.
And it's very apparent in their cars.
Because, okay, I like the Giulia. But I think I'd rather drive that Genesis.
Oh, yeah. I would rather drive even the G70.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd bother driving. I don't know. I love that. And it's just out. That's what what I mean. Nice of you to do that.
But okay, so all right, are we saying that in 2017 Volvo started a different design language that now the rest of the Korean and Asian brands are playing off of or looking towards inspiration from?
I think, and this is all opinion.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't so much that. I think that it was like when you're on the battlefield and you have all these people in the wings, this reinforcements, and they wait for the signal. The S90 was the signal. And the Asians were like, all right.
Yeah.
It's on like Donkey Kong. That was not a derogatory thing. It was a Nintendo shout out because I love Nintendo. It was. And I think it kind of let them know that now's the time to just do it. I mean, the new Avalon.
Yeah.
The new Camry. Remember, they had that round Camry, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, they were just like, we're gonna like the latest Camry I'm talking about. Suddenly, and it was around 2017.
Was it?
16, 17, I think, yeah. My point is that I think that was them. I think that was letting them know, you know what? If we're gonna do this, let's show them how it's done.
Yeah.
Because Volvo is Swedish.
Yep.
And what other car company that was very strange that was Swedish but kind of was a design marvel was Saab.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the Swedes have this way of every couple of decades coming out and going, nah, this is how you design a car.
Yeah. And that car
is how you do it.
The S90 is still one of my favorite cars.
I know. You're going to own one.
I would love to own one someday.
And here's the crazy thing. The 900S, one of my favorite cars.
Yeah.
A Saab 900. People don't realize that. Saab 900S with that curved windshield and that wet. It's one of my favorite cars. And I love it when people modify them. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the S90 is, I remember when it came out and I didn't believe it was Volvo. Yeah. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. When you showed it to me, I think you showed it to me. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no fucking way.
I followed that car from a concept.
I remember.
And I had Nate Lohmuller. He was working at
Underwriter.
Yep, when they were developing that car, and he gave me the it was like a magazine like introducing the S90, and on the cover wasn't the car, on the cover was trees, which was like very interesting. But for me as like a designer and somebody who loves marketing, that to me was like, okay, these people are very serious about this car. Yeah. Because it wasn't about the car, it's about the craft. Yeah. You know, which like if you're going to live in that car, if you're going to commute in that car, if you're going to spend, hours and hours and hours in that car, love the environment that you're in. And
it is a stunning.
It's somewhere you want to be.
It's one of the best interiors I've ever seen.
Yes.
In the lighter colors. Usually I'm like, I need black because I'm messy.
And the wood is real?
Yeah. It's real wood. Yeah. And it's the fit and finish. And I think more so than the design, that's what no longer do I want a plastic. And this has been my issue with Fords for years, is they feel plastic.
Yes, the rentals.
But yeah, they're rentals. And I think another thing that the S90 kind of pioneered is now the fit and finish in cars is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that shift knob and the G90.
Yep.
But I think you brought up an interesting point. I think that Volvo, that was the bat signal to the world that it was time.
Yep.
I do believe that. And notice how they redesigned it and then they went away.
The S90?
No, like they redesigned their entire line and we don't need to do it for another 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
it's almost like they found timelessness.
And I will say the XC90 in white with those 22s, aren't they? Yeah. I think it's one of the prettiest SUVs on the market.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's stunning.
They did something really right with that.
And that's what they did. They redesigned them and said, okay, we're done. And everybody else played catch up.
Yep. And they're a company that just like completely slept on.
Well, yeah, because you do.
Yeah.
It's Volvo.
It's Volvo.
It's Volvo.
You don't expect them to come out with that heat.
No. And they did.
I was so mad. I told you about this one time. When I was working at the coffee kiosks a few years ago, lady comes through, black S90. And I'm like, I absolutely love your car. She's like, thanks. I had to buy it. It wasn't what I wanted, but I had to settle for this car. I was like, look, man.
Did you drop her coffee just in the car, just throw it at her?
In my mind.
Get out of my line.
Yeah. She's basically treating it as like a 90s Honda Accord. This is just kind of whatever.
Honda Accords,
yeah, for sure.
I think they're great.
Okay, and a Ford Contour.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. I had to drive the Ford Contour. I just have to drive this gorgeous S90.
Yeah, it's just stupid. I have a friend of mine in LA who's been a Range Rover person forever.
Yeah.
Because they're class and they're, really presence. They were presence.
Yes.
And she switched to an S90 because she saw one driving down the road and she said, I almost got into an accident looking at it. And she goes, that's how she's an interior designer for big names. She goes, that's how I knew I needed to buy this car. And it's so true. It's timeless. But there's so many elements of past cars. You're like, yeah. And so, I think in to sum it up, I think you're right there. I think it was the bat signal for, and
that just like came to me as we were talking.
It was the Leonardo da Vinci, the spark of the design renaissance. Yeah. Because that's what we're in right now. People don't realize that. And looking back to the Trailblazer and the Blazer, it's crazy designs that we never thought we'd see.
Right.
And some of it's brand new design, some of it's nostalgia, and it's now this new blend. It's a design renaissance we're in for cars,
right?
And it's so cool,
right? Yeah, I'm curious because I mean, on one hand, like I don't know if I really want that to bleed its way into like the sport compacts,
I do.
Do you? Because like I would. I mean, like the old Datsuns. Like, I don't know if I want to feel like that nice. I kind of want to feel gritty and like you have to drive the car. You know what I mean?
Well, have you ever driven an old Datsun?
Not yet.
You have to drive that car. Yeah. There's no power steering. There's no there's no ABS. There's no you have to drive that car.
Sure, but like the fit and finish is, like should it feel like the Genesis?
Yes, I believe it should.
Think so?
Yeah, because I'm paying a shit ton more money for it. I'm not paying $700-800 for a 240. But if I'm paying $37,000 for a 400C. I want that air conditioned seat. I want that velvet suede manual gearbox, there's gear stick. I'm sorry. I want it. I'm paying $90,000 for a G90. I want that crystal cut fucking shift and knob. You bet your ass I want that. And I'm sorry, but you haven't driven a sports car hard till you've driven it with air conditioned seats. You don't sweat, it's money.
But for those cars, like it's meant to be like ripped apart and put in bucket seats.
Rip it apart.
And,
you want to rip it apart. Go nuts. Yeah. Take your 400Z, gut it, drift the shit out of it.
Which
I'm going to keep my air conditioned seats.
Which could harken back to like what you started the conversation with is ordering cars specific to like what people want. Best solution.
Look at that.
Roundabout.
Yeah, we just took our time. We Granny Smith that. We old school Volvo'd that.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because I'm a little fancier than you are sometimes, but I want that fit and finish.
Yeah.
That's why I love the new Giulia. It's a 1.9 turbo, but it sounds like a 3.6 liter twin turbo inline six.
Yeah.
And it feels like that. I want that.
Yes.
Because Alfa Romeo, I'm going to use them as an example because Alfa Romeo, literally every Alfa I've ever driven, I've driven several generations, just give me the fizz.
Yeah.
They give me the fizz, dude. And I've described this before. It's like a woman's hand with red nail polish just reaches out from under the dash and grabs your balls every time you start the car. And I know I mean it. And I want that from a new Alpha. And I got that with the new Giulia. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I also get Wi-Fi. And I get Bluetooth, and I get charging, navigation, and I get massaging seats, and I get flappy paddle gearbox if I want. Not that I would want that. And I get, rear, like the Porsche rear wheel steering, things like that.
Sure.
I want those.
Yeah.
But I also want to feel like I did, which harkens back to, which we've said harkens back a lot in this podcast. I want to build it my way. And whether I have to do that from the factory, from the dealership, or myself, I will.
Right.
Look at our Forza cars. I love putting liveries together. And I feel like I'm getting quite good at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I build cars the way I want them, whether they come from the factory or not. Like some of that's factory fucking paint. Those are colors that came from the factory.
And they're great.
But I think if car manufacturers are listening, sponsorship. Well, some of you won't sponsor us. You'll write cease and desist letters.
Please, Chevy, do not sponsor us.
Please don't. And please don't write a cease and desist letter either, because you're giving us a lot of content. Thanks for being shitty. There it is. I was wondering when QS something was going to show up. I forgot what I was going to say. Yep, I'm back. I forgot.
No harkening back this time. We're gone.
We're harkening back. I remember. We're harkening back now. Please do the piece by piece ordering, because it really. Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to get a lot of cool cars. You're going to have enthusiast clubs because people are like, oh, how'd you build yours? Oh, I built mine this way. How'd you build yours? Oh, I built mine this way.
Right.
Which we see from people like, Porsche. I mean, there's Porsche Club America all over the fucking place.
Yeah. In Billings.
Yeah. So I think that's a good note to end on too.
I think so too.
But so that last part was good. Not that the rest of it wasn't.
I forgot we were recording for a while.
Well, that's how you deem it as good.
Yes.
I deem it as good as by how much we argue.
I don't think we argued very much.
I know, which it wasn't a very good episode, was it?
It's just nice to just talk.
Yeah, I like arguing though. It's more fun. I had somebody tell me one time, they were like, I think you just like to argue. And I was like, no, I do not. And then we argued about it. And then I realized that they might be right.
Should have been a lawyer.
My mother says that to me every time I have a disagreement with her.
Yeah. This coffee's great. No, it's not.
It's actually garbage. Let me tell you why. And let me tell you why you're wrong. Jury, you decide.
Even if I'm wrong, it's still garbage.
Yeah, even if I'm wrong, I'm
still right.
Yeah, and that's something I need to work on. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, as always.
Thanks for hosting your house.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. We should be back in the shop studio next time.
Yeah.
Hopefully with cigars. I'm going to see how I'm doing with my cough. Mostly healed up. The breathing. It's just
probably the weekend of like the 20th or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I get back into town on the 17th.
Yeah,
so and
weekend. My refuge in the starter castle in Big Sky on the 20th.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to let this cough die down before I get
super smart.
I don't want to go right back into the cycle.
Yeah, and I love cigars. I don't have to have them.
That makes one of us.
Exactly.
I've been jonesing. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, as always.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody who listens and takes time and listens to the full thing. So,
and as always, please like and subscribe, but also write to us on Facebook, text us, email us, whatever it is. Contribute. You want to hear something talked about or debated or argued.
Yes.
Please send it in. We'd love to
hear about it. Absolutely. And cars, clothes, anything drink, culture, cooking.
We just hit on stuff that we find.
It's not stuff that we like go out searching for. This is just stuff that
we've tried to make it happen organically where it comes to us.
Like all the stuff that we talked about is stuff that I've seen throughout the last 2 weeks.
Same.
And then stuff that's came up as we've been talking, which is like
and that's
exactly how our friendship is. You know, like this is how we talk normally.
And that's Culture Beast. Origins is our friendship and our ridiculous conversations that we have about everything. So that's really why we brought it to you.
It is.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This is Culture Beast.
This is Culture Beast. Roll the tape.
Roll the tape.